everybody, it's Kira with Polymer Clay TV, and today I'm going to be doing installment 3 in our Christi Friesen themed create-along called A Reason to Friesen, and it's all based off the book Flourish by Christi, Projects, Techniques, and Creative Nudgings for Polymer Clay and Mixed Media. And as you can see, the theme here that we're working with is Flora, which is the theme of the book. Down here, leaf, flower, and plant designs. So if you have not been with us for the first 2 months, come on over to CraftyLink and check out A Reason to Friesen and join the challenge, because we are giving away tons of cool prizes throughout the year. So I just want to tell you what the topic is for today, and it is on page 12 and 13 of the book. And it's all about caning, but it's Christi's particular style, which she calls micro caning. So it says little bits of caning patterns that only yield a few slices. They make great leaves. And I wholeheartedly agree, because one of my big issues with caning is the fact that you end up with so much, and a lot of my canes just become scrap clay because I'm not interested in having giant piles of cane work lying around, because I just end up using them inside other things because I don't use them all up. So to do this project, you're just going to need a little bit of polymer clay but a bunch of colors. So here you can see that I started out just by making a little stack of clays in some colors that have decent contrast, and what that means is that you can clearly see the distinction between the colors. So I've got an aqua color, a bit of a bright green, a copper or bronze, an olive green, and a real kind of dark, deep, true green. And then for an accent color, I've got this pink. I've got my blade and a poker. The poker is only necessary in case you wanted to create beads that need holes. The project that I'm going to make, you're going to see you don't need to do that, but you might want to make holes in the beads. And the way I made this poker, it's so simple. It's just a head pin inside a chunk of clay that I baked. And that way I know that my bead holes will be the right size, because this head pin is a size that I would commonly use in my jewelry. So really easy. It's so simple to make your own polymer clay tools. But I'm not going to use the poker for this, so I'm just going to leave it to the side, because I decided with my first little stack, which is here and I'll show you in a bit, that I didn't want to put holes in it. So you make your little stack of clay, and as you can see, it's not really that big. Okay, and then you smush it a little bit and stretch it, and then you're going to cut it in half. And then right now, I reserved some of my glass tabletop for this video so that I could roll, because it's not so easy to roll on this white background. So here I'm going to insert a couple of pink snakes before I sandwich these together. So I've got 2 pink snakes, and then I'm going to put these together like a sandwich, like this. And then I'm just going to kind of stretch them out a little bit more, trying to maintain the oblong shape. I'm going to cut off this end because it's not as flat as I want it to be. And then I'm going to cut again. And this time I'm going to make a couple more little pink snakes. And you can put snakes in or not. You know, if you play this technique, play around with it a little bit, you'll decide if you like the look of having these, because what it does is it makes dots inside the leaves. And this is a great way to make, say, a lily type of a flower because the petals will have these dots going through them. So now I'm going to sort of form this into the shape of a leaf or a petal, whichever you prefer, because you can use the same exact technique to make flower petals too. And maybe that's what I'll do with this project as I'm creating something here, is use this as more of a petal than a leaf, because I've got some leaves that are already baked set aside to show you what kind of project you could maybe make using this technique. And it's just so easy. My cane is already done. And you see how little of it I have. Okay, so here it is. And here's another one that I made earlier that's more green. So you can cut off some copies here. You can change the shape. You can kind of mush them a little. Like I said, if you wanted to make them a bead, you could poke a hole. Or you could even use this shape to create a flower. Depending on the colors that you used, a flower or leaves might make more sense. So you just pay attention to what you're doing and you decide what type of plant parts you are creating. This is an exotic looking flower that I'm creating here, just by cutting off the little sections of this micro cane, or I like to call it just like mini caning or instant caning, because basically as long as you pick colors that have decent contrast, you can't really go wrong with this little technique. You can plan it, of course. Plan so that your colors look like, say, a lily or some other kind of flower that has this sort of striated look to it. Or you can just wing it with whatever you've got happening in your studio and just have fun and make some strange and interesting little flower like I'm doing right here. So it's really up to you how you put it together. How, you know, what colors you pick and what you decide to do with it afterwards. And then the cool thing about this is that it does act just like a cane. So in the end, you can reduce it a little bit if you wanted to get, say, some smaller leaves or petals. So let's say I want to go smaller with this. I just reduce it as if it were a regular cane. Just pull, twist, push. Don't roll it because you've got a shape going on, so you don't want to ruin the shape. But as you make it smaller, now you've got an even smaller little piece of petal or leaf. And put your accent color in the middle and you're good to go. Now I want to show you what I created previously. And these are just a pile of leaves that I made with a cane that I created earlier. And it's got that distinctive stripy look. On the back of this one you can see the big blobs because this is actually the cane end. It made a really nice big leaf, so I just left it. And then I've got some others in various sizes because I did reduce that cane a bit. And then I created this, and pink, I was using pink as an accent color, so I made this little twisty pink and copper wrapped piece here that I'm going to embed in a piece of clay. It's kind of plant-like or pod-like. So I twisted up the ends because you need an anchor to put into the clay. And I've got some fun Pardo jewelry clay right here, and this is a pretty green color that has gold glitter in it. You can see the glitteriness of it. So I'm just going to create a little pod-like thing that I can stick these into, and stick my piece of wired up beads in there and create a brooch. Brooches are becoming more popular these days. As you can see, Pardo is pretty easy to condition straight out of the package. Just roll it up a few times. And I'm going to create a sort of pod-like thing here that's the right size for embedding my beads and then sticking a bunch of these leaves that I made right into it. So I'll start with, I just want to create kind of a curve, and basically I just used a thick piece of copper wire. I think this is 18 or 20 gauge, and then I wrapped it with a thin one which was 26 gauge. So I'm just going to push the ends into the clay, and you make those little indentations in your clay just to give the clay something to hold on to when it's embedded. And now I'm just going to place these leaves around. And they don't have to be embedded very deeply because they're clay and they're just going to stick. So this is when you get to have some fun deciding where you want to put things.